Okay, hello. Today is January 29, 2024, and this is a video reviewing the syllabus for Sociology 340, Section 42. Oh, and this is going to come in two sections. The first part of the recording is just going to go over the content of the class, and then the second video is going to go over the readings and the themes of the class. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to first go over the demographic information. So this is for spring 2024, and this is for section 23964. And I'm just putting Monday because I'm just considering that the first week or the first day of the week. But this class is asynchronous, and of course it's online, and this is my email address. Now, if you're sending me an email, all what I am requesting is that you give me about 24 to 48 hours before I respond. But if I don't respond within those 24 hours, just send me another email or send me an email reminding me or drawing my attention that you send me an email and that you want me to review it so I could respond. All right. So once I see that email, and excuse me, I want to sneeze. Um, I'll look at your email as soon as I'm done reading that reminder. Okay. Now, my office is actually in the Social and Behavioral Science building, and my office number is B32 325. So once you get to the third floor of the SBS building, my office is going to be like if you're facing the elevator as soon as you come up the stairs, you're going to go to your right, and then my office is the first door after the first hallway. But I'll have my door open, and you'll see me as you walk by. Okay. Also, that my office hours are from 10 o'clock in the morning to about to one in the afternoon. But if you're unable to make it on Mondays and Wednesdays at this time, you can send me an email, and we could set up either a face to face meeting or a Zoom meeting. You just let me which modality you're able to do and what you feel comfortable in doing. Okay, and then we could just take it from there. All right. Now, the next thing I'm just going to go over the overview. So the overview for this course is that social psychology has a unique position in sociology. Social psychology studies the social construction of reality to the practices of everyday life through a system of symbolic meanings and interpretations. The primary focus of social psychology is to study the social and subjective experience through the use of language, cultural, and ideological processes and structures. So this is what I mean. We get a lot of messages from society, but we usually don't necessarily pay attention to how we receive those messages. Messages that are shared or experienced throughout society can come from like family members, friends, co-workers, and even places, of course, like the university. But then there are other locations that also inform people about understanding and experiences. And this one of the things that you'll notice is that I talk about a lot of movies, right? So like I think it was last week or not too long ago there was the nomination for Oscars, right? And one of the things that I heard or that I noticed was that the actress who played Barbie wasn't nominated for Best Actress, I believe, but I can't remember his name. I think it was Zac Efron who played Ken. He was nominated, right? And it's sort of ironic because the whole Barbie movie was about how women tend to be undervalued or not considered, right? Where Ken in Barbie's world sort of occupied that position, what most women in reality experience on a daily, daily interactions. right? So by I think her name was Margot, right? Where she was snubbed, and that's sort of like the whole theme about Barbie, right? Uh, okay, so like that would be an example. Okay, now, the goals for this class will focus on language, culture, and ideology and other symbolic processes, such as role taking and role playing, and the importance of self concept in interpersonal behavior. For example, the dominant things I'm going to share with you throughout the course of the semester is really looking at the idea of language, culture, and ideology, how those things shape and influence how we see things, right? Not only in terms of like gender interactions or gendered understanding, but also like racial, political, cultural, and cultural, right? Yeah, so like that's sort of like one of the goals. But then these are the things that you're going to experience. So will develop skills to differentiate between various theories that comprise social psychology, like the social construction of reality, the sociology of emotions, role entry and exit, status and identity. Just give you an example about role entry. Like if any of you have children, you're a parent, and you're a parent 24/7, and you're a parent even when your children are not near you, right? So then how many of you can relate that have children is like you're trying to play the role of a student where you're trying to do classwork or read at home, but then your children want your attention or your partner wants your attention, right? Because you also play the role of partner if you have a significant other. And sometimes we have these role clashes that occur where you're trying to do one thing, like read to prepare for an exam or prepare for a class, while at the same time, someone is expecting you to fulfill the role of partner or mother, right? And then how do you negotiate those role clashes that people experience on a daily occurrence, right? That's just one example. Okay. Now, the second point, or the second thing that you're going to learn from this class, is that students will develop a historical, social, and political awareness to the forces that shape subjectivity within an urban and suburban context. Um, let's see. When you're looking at the urban, or like people living in cities, there's already certain understanding of people living in certain communities. Like for example, and I really want you to consider this, right? I'm going to give you a name of a community, and then I want you to really and to consider this, but also to be honest with yourself. Okay. So when you hear the community South LA or South Los Angeles, or what it used to be known as South Central Los Angeles, what do you think of? What are the images? What are the symbols that you are aware of that sort of contextualizes people's subjectivity or their identity just based on where they live, right? Because every year that I ask this particular question in like this type of class, I usually get like dirty, issues with gangs, crime, drugs, prostitution, alcoholism, so on and so forth. But then what I've noticed is that even students who live in this community have ever rarely ever said that this is their home and this is their community. Out of about the 10 years that I've been teaching here, no, sorry, 12 years since I've been teaching here at Dominguez Hills, I might have had maybe like two or three students saying, well, South LA is my home. South LA is my community, regardless of the issues and problems that exist in this community. right? So like that's sort of what I mean by that. But there's very specific historical events that sort of given the connotation of what most people think about what South Central or South LA is like. Right. So like that's sort of like the type of ideas and things that we're going to be engaging in throughout the semester. Okay. And then the last point here is that your students will demonstrate their ability by conducting a grounded research project from a social psychological framework. What that basically means is that by the end of the semester, you're going to be able to do a research project by using some of the principles that you're going to be exposed to in the social psychology class. Excuse me, where you yourself will be able to do a research project. All right, but I'll go in more details about the research project and whatnot. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do next is like I'm going to go over the requirements. So, as you notice, there's like 7 requirements. So, first, attendance is mandatory. Now, because this is an online asynchronous class, the way that I'm going to take roll is that I'm going to provide like provide questions that relate to the readings for that particular week. Now, because as I showed you here, that I start the day or the week on Monday, your assignments you're going to submit them to me on Sundays, right? So then Sunday, I see Sunday as the end of the week. So then when you're doing the readings, you could do answer the questions like on Sunday night before 11 and answer those questions, and I would consider that as taking role for that particular week. Okay. But when you have like assignments due, I will not do like the reading questions. I'll do some other type of question like what's your favorite color or something to that effect. All right. So it's going to be something benign and very simple to address. Okay. And then the other thing that you're going to do is also a midterm. All right. So I'm going to uh, uh, write a midterm, but it's going to be on Canvas, and then you're going to have like that end of that week to do the midterm, but it's only going to cover the 5 weeks prior. All right, so there won't be anything after that. And if as long as you're able to answer the questions for the attendance, it will help you prepare for the midterm. Okay. All right. Hopefully that makes sense. But I will provide you with more details and context as we get closer towards the midterm. Okay, for the 6th week. Now, there's going to be 4 written assignments, and the 4 written assignments are going to help you eventually write what you probably noticed here, a 10 to 15 page paper. All right. So, like, let me explain how the 4 written assignments are going to work. So the first written assignment, which is due next week, but I'll show you where you could find it, and it's not going to be something just going to be you putting your ideas down. Okay. So the first written assignment is just going to ask you about how do you understand your own subjectivity or your own identity, all right, and what are the different roles that you play in society, like parent, brother, sister, coworker, anything that you think is pertinent and important for you in terms of your everyday interactions. Right. Now, so that's for assignment 1. Now, assignment 2, 3, and 4, those particular assignments are going to be used to help you construct your 10 to 15 page paper. All right. So, for instance, assignment 2 is going to ask you on writing a research proposal. So then you're going to have to sort of stop and think about what type of research project based on some idea of social psychology, like dealing with language, culture, and ideology, that you're going to do a research project on, right? Yeah, so like that's assignment 2, and then assignment 3 is an annotated bibliography where you're going to do online article research, and look for articles that relate to your topic that you discussed in the research proposal. Okay. And then assignment four is going to be a rough draft of your paper before you submit the final draft to me at the end of the term. Okay. So there are areas or moments that I will provide you with a handout as tutorials to review the assignments to ensure you understand what are my expectations and also on how to go about constructing your essays. Okay, so like that's for number three. Now number four is video critique, and what I'm going to do is that I'm going to provide a video, and it could be like a news story or even like a documentary. And what you're going to do is you're going to watch it, and then you're going to critique it by using course readings. All right. But just to be aware, and I do this specifically for this type of class because we are now starting the election season, between Nikki Haley and Donald Trump, and then Nikki Haley, Donald Trump, and Joe Biden, this type of class is really good at looking at how those three individuals, which eventually be boiled down to two, in terms of how they present themselves to the general public for the upcoming election. And also the primaries and some of the things that have been transpiring for the last couple of weeks with Trump and Biden, as well as Nikki Haley. Okay. Yeah. So, but then I will also provide you with a handout on terms of how you're going to write and what are the criteria for for the video critiques. Okay. Then you're also going to have a discussion board, and the discussion boards is just a way of having a conversation outside of sort of sorry is to continue conversations because we are not having like class meetings, and it's because of synchronous meetings. And this is how I do it. So because I read a lot of newspapers and news magazines, and if I find an article that pertains to an issue, a theme, or is relatable to the course, I'll use that as the focal point for the discussion board. And then from there, based on what I write as an explanation and details, and how you're going to approach that particular discussion board, will all be included in the instructions. Okay. And then, of course, you're going to have the 10 to 15 page paper term. And then the presentation that you're going to do is going to be from your research paper. But what you're going to do is that you're going to record it, and then you're just going to send it to me or upload it onto Canvas so I could watch your final presentation. Okay. So like these are the seven things that I'm going to use to be able to evaluate your performance in the class. Now, if you have any questions, please send me an email, or stop by my office hours, about if you have any questions. Okay. So now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to now start on the right hand side. All right. The only course material that you're gonna purchase is Sigmund Freud's Civilization as Discontent. Because I just got this class last week, I got to make sure that the bookstore was able to got my book order for this class. If not, I'm going to have to submit it either today or tomorrow. Okay. But I will show you, or I would post an image on Canvas on what cover or what book you're going to use. Okay. But then I'm also going to post. Oh, it's not Blackboard. I should change this to Canvas. All right, I'll fix that. All right. So then Sorry. I'm also going to post all the other readings onto Canvas as well for your able to be able to access all the course readings. Okay. And then I just went over the four written assignments, the video critiques, the discussion board, and the midterm, the final paper. And then the last thing on this particular page is that the student learning outcome is that you're going to be able to analyze a contemporary issue based on representation. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to go down on terms of the grade breakdown. So this is the grading policy. So, oh, I should have written seven, not six. So I'll fix that typo. Apologize for that. Okay. So the number one is attendance. Two is the four written assignments. Three is the midterm discussion board. There's going to be two discussion boards and two video critiques. Okay. And then you're going to have the 10 to 15 page paper as well as presenting your research that you're going to record and upload onto Canvas. So attendance participation is 500 points. Essays, the four essays are worth 150 each for a total of 600. Oh, it should be two discussion boards. So I got to fix that. Sorry, I thought I did this already. So it's going to be two discussion boards for 200 points. And then you have the midterm and then the two video critiques, all right, as well as the final presentation recording and the final research. Okay. And then here you have the breakdown all from an A all the way down to a fail. So 3,000 points to 296 or 2960 is an A, and then a 1770 to a zero is a fail. Now, just to let you know, um, I don't like to fail students, but if a student gives me an argument that they want to fail, I will oblige them and I will not lose sleep over that. And this is what I mean by an argument to fail. Don't don't consistently log on to Canvas and don't do sporadically the um, uh, what is it, the answering the questions for the readings as I take roll, or not doing the assignments, or not formatting the assignments properly per how I instruct in each individual assignment. This is an example of what an argument to fail looks like. All right. So, but then I also am aware of that sometimes life gets in the way of your education. And if that is the situation, let me know. So if there's a situation that's impacting your ability to perform for the class, let me know so we can figure out any type of strategies or things that we could brainstorm to help you get through the class. All right. Okay. It's like what I've said in the past. I can't help you if I don't know if something's going on with you. All right. So make sure that you let me know as soon as you see that it is going to impact your performance in the class. Okay. Now, so now let me go over some of these things like attendance. So attendance is defined for this online course as signing onto Canvas and remaining logged for 30 minutes. All right, that's just one criteria, but also like when you answer the questions, you're gonna be online for a little more than 30 minutes or so. All right, so like that would take care of that criteria. All right, because Canvas does allow me to see how much time each student is on Canvas Show based on the individual accounts, right? And that's a consequence of what I mentioned in my criminology class, that you live in a surveillance society because of technology, iPhones or smartphones, smartwatches, and all these other devices have literally been integrated into our personal lives as well as into society in general. So there's very little privacy for any of us because of how intimately integrated these technologies are in our everyday life. So like that's an issue of living in a technologized society. Okay, all right. Writing emails. Now, the reason why I do this is because I also teach at a junior college, and between the junior college and here, I tend to have between 150 or so to almost 200 students, more or less. Some semesters are a little less, sometimes a little more. It's just to sort of let you know. So the way that I keep my emails organized is that when you write an email, especially in the subject line, I want you to put in the number of the class. And I should have put 340 here. right? And then the section and the section number, and then after the section number, put what the email is about, right? Because the way that I have my email set up is that based on this format, the email will just, yeah, or my email program will just automatically put those emails in those folders, and then I'll just go through and read the emails when I open my uh, email app. Okay. Okay. Now, then, as I mentioned earlier, discussion boards will be considered extensions for class discussions. As I mentioned, this will be where I use newspaper articles or just a story that I see and relate it back to the class. Like, how many of you remember, for example, was it like last year, I believe, meaning 2023 spring, I believe, when the Ariel movie came out and Halle Bailey was the Little Mermaid, and how certain white community members were complaining that Bailey was black and that there is no such thing as a mermaid. And I remember watching on what was it? I think it was, not TikTok, Instagram as well as Facebook, where people would say that there are no such thing as black mermaids because there's no sunlight at the bottom of the ocean. Where I even was able to catch a YouTube channel where the host of the YouTube channel said that the science proves that there is no such thing as a black mermaid. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, you mean that there's actually scientific evidence to prove that mermaids are real, let alone that there is no such thing as a black mermaid, right? So I would think that would be a much bigger story, that there was scientific evidence proving or showing that mermaids are actual things and not just the creation of someone's imagination. Excuse me. So that's sort of the thing that we'll be looking at in this course, right? And then this is sort of what I mentioned earlier with the video critique, where we'll show the video and then you're going to use the course readings to help you analyze the content of the video. So when I post the video and you watch the video, think of the video as you doing an ethnographic observation of a scenario or a phenomenon. You take the notes of what you think are the important elements of the video, and then you're going to write the essay, right, or the critique. And but as I mentioned earlier, I will provide the handout and example of how you're going to go about doing the video critique. Okay. Written assignments. So the written assignments are there to help you organize your materials for your research project. Um, and also to make sure and just remind everyone, when you're writing an essay, the standard essay format is 1 inch margins, 12-point font, double spaced, right? And and that's just like the basic format for every standard essay that anyone has ever written at the university. Okay. But then I also will encourage you to go to Purdue OWL if you have issues like with punctuation or just like grammar and things like that. It's a really good online resource to use when you're writing. Right. I've been encouraging students to go to Purdue OWL now for a little more than 6 or 7 years. Okay. Now, research. And it's just sort of what I mentioned earlier. With the research, you're going to go through the whole research process that every professor has ever done research. And then you're going to come to realize that when you're carrying out your research, you have to make certain decisions. And those decisions that you make as you do your research will impact what the final product is going to be once you're done with it, meaning the research essay. So, like, this is a practical way for you as a student to really consider all the things that are necessary in order to write quality research for eventual publication. Okay. All right. And then the last thing is the readings. The instructor expects that you're going to be doing the readings to be able to answer the questions that I